Our second capstone today is by Mr. Andrew Braquet, and this is his thesis statement. The creative process is necessary for the full human experience as it reflects God's image and allows us to engage with the transcendentals in ways beyond reason alone. Without the creative process, we deny part of our human nature, making it impossible to fully flourish as a human person. Please welcome Andrew.
Think about a song that gives you chills, your favorite comfort movie that you watch on repeat, or seeing a beautiful sunset. Despite how common art is, we rarely stop to think about just how important it is in all of our lives. Art has a constant and unavoidable presence in everyday human life, appearing in forms such as music, architecture, design, nature, movies, and even in simple things like clothing designs. In modern society, people interact with art all the time, often without even realizing it. A good example of this is people in America listening to music for over 20 hours a week on average, and also consuming media through social platforms. Art is not merely just entertainment or decoration. It provides physical, mental, and spiritual benefits to the human person. It provides a way to encounter God that goes beyond logic and reason. The creative process can be defined as the act of making or participating in art. Art is defined as objects, images, music, etc., things that are beautiful and that express feeling. Making art is a natural human activity that reflects imagination and intentionality. It can show much about the inner state of the person who is making the art. Throughout history, art has been present in basically every civilization. From early cave paintings to medieval Gothic architecture to later literary Renaissance works of art such as Macbeth and Hamlet, art has had many forms and trends throughout our history. The creative process is necessary for the full human experience as it reflects God's image and allows us to engage with the transcendentals in ways that go beyond reason alone. Without the creative process, we deny a part of our human nature, making it impossible to fully flourish as humans. The creative process provides significant mental and emotional benefits that can help humans function on a daily basis. Engaging in art helps reduce negative mental stress. Activities like drawing, writing, or listening to music can lower levels of stress, anxiety, and depression. Art creates a calming effect that allows the mind to rest from the pressure and monotony of everyday life. It also provides a meaningful outlet for emotional expression. People are able to express complex feelings that they may have not been able to communicate through just words alone. This can be especially useful for those with emotional struggles as well as mental disabilities. Art therapy can be defined as a mental health profession that uses the creative process of making art to support emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It has been widely recognized as an effective tool. It allows individuals to process trauma, anxiety, and depression in a safe and constructive way. Studies have shown that consistent participation in creative activities leads to measurable improvements in mental health. In one study in particular, 85 participants participated in 4 art sessions over the span of 2 weeks, and it was measured that their levels of stress, anxiety, and depression were all significantly lower in all the patients. In addition to these mental benefits, the creative process also provides a sense of accomplishment and purpose. Participating in the creative process gives individuals confidence and satisfaction. It also reinforces the idea that their thoughts and expressions do have value. For children, creativity is especially important. The creative process engages curiosity, imagination, and a desire for growth. It helps develop important life skills such as problem solving, communication, and critical thinking. Introducing the creative process to children can help shape future career paths and help out our society as a whole. For example, a child may have interest in drawing, which can lead them to hone that skill and become, for example, an architect or an engineer. A child involved in movie or theater may develop communication and leadership abilities, which can lead to them being attracted to a job like teaching. This shows that creativity isn't just helpful, but it is foundational to who we are and how we grow and function as humans. The creative process, as you can see from these examples, also contains major benefits, not only for the individual person, but also for society as a whole. Beyond workforce skills alone, the creative process also plays a key role in developing community by encouraging collaboration and empathy. An example of this would be a group of people working on a mural together. They must work together, respect each other's ideas, and communicate well, which builds a strong sense of trust and community. Along with promoting innovation and problem solving, it encourages adaptability and new ways of thinking, which are essential skills when in the real world when we have to work with different types of people. Creativity and making art also fosters collaboration in general and helps people connect with each other despite their differences in background. It allows members of society to express who they are and what they believe. Overall, the creative process is essential for human development because it promotes mental health, emotional expression, and personal growth in both children and in adults. To deny creativity is to deny a part of human nature given to us by God, which makes it impossible to fully flourish. One of the most important aspects of the creative process is that it reflects the nature of God himself. We are all made in the image and likeness of God. Since God is the ultimate creator, human creativity reflects his divine nature. This means that the desire to create is not accidental, but is intentionally placed in our human soul. When people engage in the creative process, they act as co-creators with God. By this I mean that we are not creating just like God did, but we are participating in his creative nature in a smaller, limited, and more human way. This allows for people to better understand God's role as a creator. The act of creating often leads to a reflective and contemplative state. It slows the mind and allows for deeper thinking. It creates space and awareness of God and seeing him in the art created as well as in the world around us. Art can also become a form of prayer and spiritual expression directly. Writing, painting, and composing music can all be ways of communicating with God. For example, one can use art as prayer by simply directly writing prayers, painting holy scenes, or making musical compositions such as hymns that glorify God, to give a few examples. Someone who paints a scene from the Bible or writes a song of praise is not simply just creating something. They are made more open to communicating with God in that process. Art is a way of accepting our full nature given to us by God. It trains people to recognize God's presence in everyday life. The creative process strengthens faith by reflecting God's image, encouraging contemplation of him, and providing a deeper way to encounter the divine. Next, the creative process connects us with the transcendentals. The transcendentals can be defined as truth, goodness, and beauty. These are universal qualities which have been developed since around Aristotle's time, which is about mid-4th century BC. Truth is what corresponds to reality, goodness is what fulfills purpose and is morally right, and beauty is what is pleasing and draws people towards meaning. Art is one of the most powerful ways to experience the transcendentals. Beauty is especially present in artistic expression. Through beauty, people are led to reflect on truth and goodness. The experience of beauty has a transformative effect. It quiets the mind and creates an openness to God's presence. It encourages contemplation about the nature of God and what is truly good and fulfills our human desires. To simplify what I'm saying, beauty is easily found in art, and it serves as a bridge to truth and goodness, which are all three of the transcendentals. Through art, people can experience and encounter God. Since God is the source of truth, goodness, and beauty, experiencing these qualities directly leads back to him. When I was researching the transcendentals, I came across this quote that really struck me. All truth is God's truth, all goodness is God's goodness, all beauty is God's beauty. This quote shows just how useful art is for connecting us with God. In this way, art becomes a bridge between the physical world and a spiritual reality. As humans, we must participate in creative activity, not only because it connects us to God through the transcendentals, but also because without it, we are denying a part of our nature, making it impossible to fully flourish. The creative process is not just an extra thing in life, but it is part of who we are as humans. Through creativity, we develop mentally, emotionally, finding healing, purpose, and a way to express ourselves. However, more importantly, the act of creating reflects the image of God in us, allowing us to better understand his role as a creator. Art also connects us with the transcendentals, truth, goodness, and beauty, which ultimately lead us to God. In a world that is becoming more distracted, more materialistic, and more disconnected to faith, the creative process becomes even more important. If we ignore the creative process, we are not simply just ignoring art alone, we are ignoring a part of ourselves and a powerful way to encounter God. Because of this, I encourage all of you to make time for creativity, whether that be in any form you like, whether it be drawing, singing, painting, or even baking a cake. Ultimately, if we want to live fully as Christians and grow closer to God, the creative process is not optional. It is essential. Thank you.
What faculty questions do we have?
Mr. Peo?
Thank you, Andrew. Could you share with us any times in your education at JPG or in your personal life where you found yourself exercising this creativity you described?
Of course. I think JPG's program of the world classes in American history does a great job of this, because the main two that come to my mind is Modern World and this year in American Studies. Because in Modern World, we discussed lots of types of art, like paintings from Michelangelo and sculptures, and that was a wide range of art. And also this year in American Studies, Ms. Pagan lets us do Fine Arts Friday, where everyone can submit a piece of art and we can all talk about it. So that's, at least in school, that's my experience I found of exercising the creative process.
Thank you.
Mr. Cortez.
Thanks, Andrew. Can you talk to us a little bit about your own creative process as an artist, or, because I know you, as a musician? So like the music that you produce, how is that related to what you're talking about in your capstone?
Of course. I work with lots of different people in music and lots of different types of sounds, and it shows me that God created the world with nothing in it except a garden and two humans, and we've come so far that people can create digital symphonies on computers, and especially working with different types of people, seeing their different personalities and voices. God has not made any person in the world the same. Everyone has a different voice, everyone has a different personality that I've worked with, and it shows that God has so much variety and uniqueness when He has created the world. Mr. Anson?
Thank you for your presentation. One of the ways that creativity is kind of sparked in a science classroom has a lot to do with the clever designing of an experiment into something that might show forth maybe some principle, and then you do it and it actually works, you know. And so I wonder if there is a takeaway from your capstone about finding the creative thread in whatever it is that you're doing, whether it may be any different discipline. You know, would you suggest that, you know, that there's something human or humanizing about the process of looking for the creative avenue in any course?
Can you rephrase your question?
Yeah, like for example, in a science classroom, maybe not where people would typically think you could find an expression of creativity. Is there something for a student or for anybody to take away this idea that if you can find a creative thread through the thing that you're studying, that we somehow have managed to make a class more human?
Yes, I definitely think so. In pretty much every class here, I definitely think there's more creative ways to go about your work and enjoy the process more. And I do think that is very human. I think that's a good thing for people to practice, because finding creativity in absolutely everything you do can be very beneficial to the human person, and it can help with all the benefits I listed, and also encountering God and seeing the transcendentals not only in typical art as you would find, but also is in things like, as you said, science classes. So I think it would be good because you can see the transcendentals absolutely everywhere.
Thank you.
Ms. Pagan?
Thanks so much for your presentation, Andrew. I was wondering if you could speak into human nature. a little bit more. Namely, what about the human person, in essence, is so closely tied to the creative process?
We are all made in God's image, and we are all called to be co-creators with God because part of His image in us, He is a creator. He made the whole universe. We are called to create, just as you've seen in like Adam and Eve. They created the human race. We are all called to create in some form or another because it is something that God has placed in our nature since the dawn of time. So to deny creative process and not participate in any form of the creative process would be to deny a part of our inherent human nature.
Thank you, Andrew.
Dr. Brumfield?
Thank you for your presentation, Andrew. History is littered with really talented artists who are morally a mess. Can you help us to make sense of that fact in light of kind of the argument you're trying to make here?
Yes, so they can participating in the creative process, you cannot fully flourish without it. That's what I'm arguing. That you can be a not morally sound person and participate in art, and you can even find elements of the transcendentals and facts about our nature and the world in art. However, you don't have to necessarily be a morally sound person to participate in art. What I argue is that you cannot live fully and fully flourish without participating in the creative process.
Thank you.
Do we have any senior questions?
Ezra.
Thank you for your presentation, Andrew. I'm interested in your come up as an artist, like gaining 500K streams across all platforms, 20K monthly, and like your whole persona is IOI Soul. Has this helped you to motivate you or helped you experience the beauty in art better?
Thank you for your question. Yes, I would absolutely say so, because experimenting with different sounds and different people, like I said in my paper, it's taught me collaboration and empathy, and collaborating with different people has really helped. Sometimes I might not get along with a person. It's helped out my tolerance for people and just my social skills in general, along with dealing with the actual sounds and stuff. It's experimenting with the sounds is a unique experience because many different cultures and things, I use that kind of inspiration for my music, and it has showed me that the variety in creation, like I may use Mexican music or something as a sample for one of my songs, and it connects me with different types of culture, and it shows just the amount of variety God has in the world, and how every culture and person's voice is unique, and it just showed me that nothing is the same. Like every culture, it's all different, and there's real variety that God put in the world when He was creating it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.